Hey there, Brew Crew. This is Clay. Welcome to Beer City Board Games. Today we're going to be taking a look at Furnace. In Furnace, players are going to be taking on the roles of 19th century capitalists. Not exactly an original theme for a game, but never mind that. The goal of the game is to make the most money over 4 rounds. Let's head down to the table, we'll see how it plays, and then we'll come back for my review. The game begins with each player receiving a random capitalist card, which will give each player a unique ability, and a random startup card, which will tell you what resources and starting actions you will have. Players will also gather the bidding discs in the color of their choice, numbered 1 to 4, which will be used during the bidding, or the auction phase. And the game also comes with some tokens to help keep track of player color if you find that kind of thing useful. Once the setup is complete, the first round begins. Each round has 2 phases, the auction phase and the production phase. The first player will begin the auction phase by shuffling up the company deck and dealing out cards in a row. The number of cards will depend on the number of players. After the cards have been dealt, the first player begins the bidding. They will do this by placing one of their discs on a company card. There are a couple of restrictions when it comes to placing your disc. You cannot place more than 1 disc on a card, and there cannot be 2 discs of the same value on a card. Bidding will continue around the table until all of the players have placed all of their discs. At which time we will resolve the auction and determine who has won each card. Each card is going to be resolved one by one in order, starting with the card closest to the company deck and working our way down the line. The player who has the highest value disc on the card will receive that company card and place it in front of them during the production phase. Every other player who placed a disc on that card will receive compensation. They will look at the resource or action at the top of the card. If that card shows a resource, the player that receives that resource will multiply it by the number on the disc that they bid with. In this situation here, the white player had placed a 1 token, so in this case they would get 2 stone. If they had instead placed a number 2 token, they would get 4 stone, and so on. If the card instead shows an action, then the player receiving the compensation will be allowed to take that action a number of times equal to the number on the disc that they bid with. It is important to note that the player who won the bid and receives the card does not also receive compensation. Once all cards have been resolved in the auction phase, players will then move on to the production phase. Each company card in front of a player may be activated once per round. Card effects are resolved from top to bottom, and once a player has begun resolving a card, they're not allowed to go back to any previous cards, even if a card's effects weren't fully resolved. Just like in the compensation phase, cards in the production phase could have one of 2 possible effects, either extraction or processing. Extraction simply means taking the indicated resources, whereas processing will allow you to exchange resources for either other resources, money, or to upgrade. The multiplier on a card will tell you how many times you are allowed to do that particular exchange. So this card here would allow me to take 2 stone and add it to my supply, and then it would allow me to exchange iron for $2, so 1 iron for $2 up to 4 times. I don't have any iron, but this over here would let me change the 2 stone that I just received into $2. Each card has a basic side, which shows a colored image on the top and an outlined image on the bottom. During the production phase, players can spend upgrade tokens to upgrade their company cards. Usually this is done with some combination of an upgrade token and another resource. This lets them flip the card over to the upgraded side, where both images are in full color. Once a card is upgraded, both of the actions on the card are available to the player during the production phase. Once all players have completed their production phase, the round marker is moved down, and the first player token moves clockwise to the next player. Play continues for 4 rounds, and at the end of the 4th round, players will count up their money, and the player with the most money is the winner. If there's a tie, the player with the most leftover resources is the winner. So at the beginning of the video, I joked a little bit about how Furnace's theme is not particularly original. While this is true, there's not really much of a theme to speak of here anyway. In my opinion, I think the game is just a little too light to really carry that theme. But with that being said, I think this is a very good engine builder. It's fairly rules light, but you still have some meaningful decisions to make, especially when it comes to building up your tableau of cards in front of you. Your startup card is probably going to push you in a certain direction, but you're going to have to decide what type of resource you want to build your engine around. There are also times that you're going to want to lose a bid so that you can get the compensation, so that you can gather up those resources instead. I really enjoy that decision of whether I'd rather have the card or the compensation. I don't know that this is a game that I would break out with new gamers. I think the production phase is a little bit confusing as you're trying to remember which cards have been activated and which ones have not. The rulebook suggests actually going through the production phase player by player so that everybody can kind of keep track of that together. So maybe that might be a way to try playing this game with new folks rather than just having everybody kind of do their own thing. I should note too that the neoprene playmat that we showed in the rules overview, that was something that we purchased separate. It does not come with the base game. It's a nice touch, but it's by no means necessary in order to enjoy the game. I would say that the components in this game are exactly what they need to be for this type of game. Overall, we really like Furnace. It's quick playing, so it does make it to the table pretty frequently. And the different capitalist cards and starting card combinations give you a fair amount of variety each time you play. So in terms of BGG score, this one gets an 8 from me. And I'm looking forward to trying out the expansion Interbellum as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, everybody. And until next time, let's get another round for the table. Hey everybody, don't forget to like and comment on this video. If you found value in this video at all, it would mean a lot to us if you consider subscribing to the channel as well. Don't forget to click the notification button so you'll know when we put out a new video. Cheers!